Hey guys, it's Julian from Beneath the Bunk Studios and BeneathTheBunk.com. I hope you're doing wonderfully today. We are talking about whether or not the STL Tonehub plugin can really replace your Axe effects or your Kemper. Let's get into it. Now, right off the bat, I just want to tell you that this is not going to be let's compare Tonehub and the Kemper and Axe effects video, because there are plenty of those on the internet. The internet does not need any more of them, and you could easily find that kind of thing on YouTube. I don't have anything unique to offer in that regard. Now back to the subject at hand. Can the Tonehub plugin replace your Kemper or Axe effects? First, we're going to talk about whether or not it can replace your Kemper. If you go to the official Tonehub page on the STL website, you're going to see in the FAQ section a question that asks, can Tonehub replace my Kemper or Axe effects? And the answer that STL gives is, simply put, yes. I think that it should say, simply put, it depends. With the Kemper, there are a variety of reasons you could want one. So for me, when I owned one, I recently sold it. I used it mainly as a sim, as an amp sim, like the same way you would use the Tonehub plugin, the same way you would use a Neural DSP plugin, or any other amp sim company's plugins. Now, probably the biggest selling point for the Kemper is that it can profile real amps and real rigs. So if you have an amp that you really like and you have a cab that you really like and you get some tones that you really like out of those amps, what you can do is you can take digital profiles of them and have them loaded into your Kemper, so that when you plug your Kemper into a speaker or when you plug your Kemper into your audio interface, you get that same tone in a much lighter, much smaller, and in some cases less expensive package. And what you're free to do then, once you've made a lot of profiles with that rig so that you have a lot of selections of different tones, is you can sell that rig and then just keep the Kemper and have digital versions of it. And if you play live, you could just play with that rig live in a much lighter way. The reason I'm explaining all of that is because if you're using your Kemper to profile rigs and you really like using it for that purpose, no, Tonehub cannot replace your Kemper, because it can't do that. That's one reason I think it should say it depends on the website as opposed to yes. Can you play with Tonehub live like you can with the Kemper? Again, as somebody who used to play with the Kemper live, I can say that I would feel more comfortable bringing my Kemper to a show and playing than I would bringing my computer and my audio interface and anything else that I need in order to make that work properly to a show. And that's because the Kemper is just kind of more reliable than a computer and an audio interface and all these moving parts. Kemper is one unit. If you're using Tonehub, you kind of have a little bit of, room for error and more pieces to the puzzle. So to summarize what I've said so far, can it replace your Kemper if you're using it live? It can, but I don't recommend it. And can it replace your Kemper if you're just trying to profile your amps? No, it can't, because it doesn't do the same thing that the Kemper does. Now, like I said, I was mainly using my Kemper as an amp sim. I just had it sitting in my studio, and it was just there, and I used it for all the guitar tones anytime I needed a guitar tone. Can Tonehub replace the Kemper if that's what you're looking to do with it? You just want to use it as a sim kind of thing, and you're just looking to record some great tones. There, I believe the answer is yes. Since I've sold my Kemper, I've replaced it with multiple sims from Neural DSP and STL, and I'm pretty happy. I don't feel like I lost anything. Now on to the next part of the question. Can Tonehub replace your Axe effects? I've never been an Axe effects owner, but I have seen people use the Axe effects. I'm aware of its capabilities. I've done a good bit of research on it. When I bought my Kemper, I was considering, Kemper Axe effects like everybody else. For anybody that doesn't know, the main difference between the Axe effects and the Kemper is sort of like the Kemper is profiling entire rigs in the form of profiles, whereas the Axe effects is modeling individual elements of a rig. So you got a bunch of different amps you can choose from, you got a bunch of different cabs you can choose from, you got different pedals, you got different crazy routing options, all these different kinds of very meticulous things that you can also do with the amps, the cabs, and it's crazy. You could really get lost in it. Whereas in the Kemper, you definitely do not get nearly as many options or as much freedom as you do with the Axe effects. Now back to the main question. Can Tonehub replace the Axe effects? My answer to that question is going to be a no. The reason I say that is because, like the Kemper, Tonehub is very preset based. You don't get that much control over what you're doing in the same way as you do with the Axe effects. The Axe effects, like I said, you have a bunch of different amp models that you can match with a bunch of different cab models with a bunch of different effects, and you can route them in parallel. You could route them in different ways. You could do all these crazy combinations that are just physically impossible with Tonehub. It's much more preset based like the Kemper is. You can't really take one amp from a Tonehub preset and mix it with a cab from another Tonehub preset. Now, maybe that's going to change. Honestly, if it were to change, that wouldn't surprise me one bit. Maybe that's part of the reason they say that the Tonehub plugin can replace the Axe effects, but as of right now, I don't believe that it can. That being said, maybe none of that matters to you. Maybe you just want the ability to have instant reamps, if you want to call them that. Maybe you want the ability to just change the tone on the fly, click a preset, change the tone, click a preset, change the tone. With the Axe effects or the Kemper, you don't have that freedom. You don't have the ability to do that in real time like that. Instead, you have to reamp the DI out to the Axe effects or the Kemper, route that now affected signal back into your interface and record all the way through the passage or the song or whatever you're doing to get the tone printed. It's much more complicated, and if you like having a really fast workflow, Tonehub might be the way to go. All right, that's all I got for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, let me know down below. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know if I helped you out, if you're thinking about selling your Kemper, your Axe effects, if you have any more specific questions. Like I said, I sold my Kemper and I started using Tonehub and other sims, and I really don't regret it. I don't think that my work has suffered as a result of that, and I'm pretty pumped about it. So if you're thinking about making that same decision, let me know, and I will talk to you later.